Hello. So now I'm gonna talk about the three types of domestic violence cases. Two of these cases are very common. The third one is more rare, but I'll give a few examples. So the three different types of domestic violence cases in maybe not just in New Jersey, but in general, right, are crimes. If you're charged with a crime under the uh, Prevention of Domestic Violence Act of 1991 in New Jersey, commonly referred to as the Domestic Violence Act. So the first type is a crime. The second type of DV cases are restraining orders. Situation where someone goes and secures a restraining order that commands the defendant to do X, Y, Z, or to refrain from doing X, Y, Z. Okay. The third type of a DV case, domestic violence case, is civil litigation for damages. That's a case where someone goes and says, your act of domestic violence has caused me damage, and therefore I want compensation for my damages. So, very quickly, I'm going to go through in more detail each of the examples, right? Each of the different categories. Under the New Jersey, the Domestic Violence Act of New Jersey, which I mentioned earlier, the actual formal citation is the Prevention of Domestic Violence Act, passed in 1991. Under that law, it lists a series of actions, right, that are classified by law as domestic violence. Examples of such are harassment, assault, threats, criminal mischief, stalking, kidnapping, etc. Okay, in order to be convicted of a crime under the Domestic Violence Act, your action has to meet any of those different categories of actions that are listed under the law. Okay, you must meet the elements of those definitions under the law. So in most cases, whether the partner, husband or wife, or someone that you're living with calls the police, or somehow the police gets involved, they draft a complaint. It gets in the hands of the prosecutor, and the prosecutor decides whether to charge that individual with a crime or not. Right, and the legal standard is reasonable doubt. The second type of case of DV are restraining orders. Now, in the event of a restraining order, right, it's basically one citizen versus another citizen. The prosecutor doesn't get involved with it at all. Now, there are cases where, in the case of a domestic violence crime, the prosecution may request that a restraining order be put in place. 9 times out of 10, the judge will himself or herself put a restraining order in place where there's a charge of a domestic violence crime, right? But that's as far as the prosecutor would go with regards to restraining orders. They don't prosecute it. There won't be court for it. It's strictly a private affair between one citizen and the other citizen. Okay, and of course, the third type of DV case, as I mentioned earlier, are civil litigation. By the way, the legal standard for the restraining order cases is preponderance of evidence. It's about 50% plus one is what we call it in law practice. The final type of DV case, domestic violence case, is the civil litigation case, right? And that's again where the alleged victim files a case in court for damages in civil litigation, saying, you hurt me, whether it's physical violence, damage of property, or both, or whether it was also emotional damages, such as emotional distress, which has to be severe. So these are the three different types of domestic violence cases. I implore you to watch my other videos in which I go into detail, in particular, of each type of video. Again, this is Attorney Ade Omojola from Omojola Law, and I'm looking forward to solving your legal problem. Hello, this is Attorney Ade Omojola from Omojola Law, located right here in Jersey City, New Jersey. I have been practicing for over 14 years. I cover the areas of litigation, domestic violence, restraining orders, DUIs, driving under the influence, and also immigration. You can search a modular law into your favorite search engine. Just enter OMOJOLA space LAW, and it'll pull up our website, locations, and other information by which you can contact us. Again, this is Attorney Ade Omojola from Omojola Law, and I am looking forward to solving your legal problem.